Welcome back to the Drexel Sports Zone, the show where we recap all things Drexel and Philadelphia sports. I'm your host, Luciano Duffy. Now, let's jump right into it. The Eagles lost to the Browns 22-17 on Sunday. This was the first time that Cleveland has beaten Philadelphia since 1994. This leaves the Eagles at a 3-6-1 record. Fear not, though, as they are still first in the NFC East. They currently sit a half game above everyone else in the division, as they are all tied at 3-7. That tie, man, is really helping out the Eagles and their position in the NFC East. To put the NFC East in perspective, if the Eagles were in any other division, they would be third, and if they were in any other NFC division, they would be fourth. It's crazy to think that one of these teams in the NFC East will host a home playoff game. Anyway, back to the game. It was a sloppy one. The weather in Cleveland was lots of rain, and it reflected in the play of the players. Lots of guys were slipping and sliding all over the field. The Eagles' defense, though, came out strong and kept the Browns' offense in check for the majority of the game. The Eagles' offense, however, just looked terrible. After driving down the field for 95 yards, the offense abandoned the run and couldn't get much going after that. Carson Wentz threw for 235 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. One of those interceptions was returned the other way for 6. Some of those yards and that second touchdown are inflated because they came in garbage time. Running the ball, Miles Sanders had 66 yards on 16 carries. More than half of these yards came on the first drive. Why wasn't he given the ball more? God, it beats me. Tight ends Dallas Goedert and Richard Rodgers each had themselves a receiving touchdown. Goedert had 77 yards, while Rodgers had 48 on just 2 catches. For the Browns, Baker Mayfield had 204 passing yards with 0 interceptions and 0 touchdowns. Nick Chubb exploded late in the game as a 54-yard run helped him total 114 yards. It was Kareem Hunt, though, that was able to score the rushing touchdown for the Browns. It's another week of the same storylines for the Eagles. Veteran players are being exposed and stealing reps from promising players. Doug Peterson's play calling hasn't gotten any better, and Carson Wentz just doesn't look like his 2017 self. The offensive line battled injuries once again, as their last starting offensive lineman from the beginning of the season, Jason Kelce, got hurt in this game. The Eagles fly home for their Week 12 matchup with the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are currently 7-3 and are 5.5-point favorites on the road in this matchup. This will be another tough game for the Eagles. However, the Seahawks' passing defense is one of the worst in the NFL. This is a huge get-right game for Carson Wentz and the Eagles. And if they can find a way to win this shootout, it will instill confidence in the whole organization as the end of the regular season draws near. The 76ers have been busy with both the NBA draft and NBA free agency opening up last week. Before the draft even started, the Sixers traded Al Horford along with his ugly contract and the Sixers' 2025 first and second round picks in order to acquire Danny Green and Terrence Ferguson. Horford has yet to play up to his big contract, and this frees up a lot of money for the Sixers. Green comes to the Sixers as a good spot-up three-point shooter. He also plays great perimeter defense, which plays perfectly into the defensive mentality that Philly has built over the past couple years. In the draft, with the 21st selection, the 76ers drafted Tyrese Maxey, a point guard out of Kentucky. Maxey, as a freshman, who many expected to be off the board much earlier. At 6'3", Maxey is one of the best perimeter defenders in the draft. His reputation as a competitor and a shot maker fit what Philadelphia is attempting to build. He has tight mechanics and a long track record of making big shots. Then, the Sixers sent the 34th overall pick along with Josh Richardson to the Mavericks for shooting guard Seth Curry. No, this isn't the Curry brother who took over the league with his deep three ball and his fancy dribbling. This is his older brother. He has a three-point shot, much like his brother, and will get plenty of looks based on how the 76ers roster is currently set up. With the 49th pick, the Sixers selected Isaiah Joe, a shooting guard out of Arkansas. And with their final selection, they grabbed DePaul's forward Paul Reed. In free agency, they were able to sign center Dwight Howard to a one-year contract. Howard was reportedly offered more money from the Lakers, his previous team, but instead decided to come to Philadelphia. A veteran in the league, Dwight Howard offers a cheap replacement at center for when Joel Embiid gets tired. There is little pressure to come in and be the all-star that he once was. If he can just help out on both ends of the floor while Embiid isn't playing, then he will be worth his weight in gold. And let me tell you, he's a big dude. It is safe to say that the newly hired president, Daryl Morey, has been busy. Fans are loving the moves that he is making. He seems to be waving a magic wand and slowly fixing the 76ers roster piece by piece. Let's see what he has in store for us next. The Phillies have hired Caleb Cotham to be their new pitching coach. The 33-year-old has served as the Cincinnati Reds assistant pitching coach for the past 2 seasons. He has worked closely with the likes of Trevor Bauer and Sonny Gray, and both of them spoke highly of his baseball knowledge and leadership. Maybe he will have an influence on getting Bauer, who is the NL Cy Young winner and current free agent, to the Phillies. Cotham has his work cut out for him, as the Phillies bullpen is one of the worst in the league. In more personal news, Bryce Harper and his wife Kayla welcomed daughter Brooklyn Elizabeth into the world. Brooklyn joins her new brother Crew as the Harper family continues to grow. This announcement came during the dreadful Eagles game, which definitely sparks joy for me and other Philadelphia sports fans. Not much news about the Flyers has come out in the past week. Flyers prospect Desjardins had another multi-point performance as he continues to excel and exceed his draft position. You know what sports teams have had a lot of news recently? Your Drexel Dragons. As fall sports are coming to a close, it looks like the Dragons' historic undefeated season will hold. In all seriousness, though, NCAA's men's basketball tips off for Drexel as the Dragons travel to Penn State and Pittsburgh for their first 2 games this season. We will recap both of those games next week. And that is all for the Drexel Sports Zone. We'll catch you next time.